Yeah, Tank Lip. We on some blog shit, 2014, Zombieville type shit. In a trance type state, but gotta throw up some shit, get that sickness out. So, in a way, I'm like vindicated. So, this morning, my thoughts, mental illness is attacking me again. Thoughts racing. And I had this idea that maybe my thoughts are racing because there's some truth that needs to get out. And, once I speak that truth, maybe it's like lifting some shit off my chest, so I get rid of some of that sickness. And I told you I've been in like a hell type situation. So, all the things that I've been through the last couple years, my life, like things that don't make sense, things that have been contaminating my thoughts, making me sick, like, things that don't make sense, they haunted me. And, I've been stuck in this sickness, so maybe it's time to just to let go of that sickness. I gotta vindicate myself by just speaking about what I've been through, and then just by virtue of that, by speaking about it, I can let it go. I can put those things behind me. But until I speak about it, it's like it's still inside me, making me sick, and all that doubt and that wonder, like, what has it really been that I've been through? Until I get it out, I'm still sick with it. So in this way, it's like the devils and the hell, it's like in my mind. Like my mind is contaminated. It is like back to some 36 Chambers of Death or some Shogun shit when in that Wu CD, when they talking about that kid in the skits talking about like he didn't leave his house, like his brain was contaminated with so many different devils. That's kind of like what I'm going through, and it's boxed me in. So, I've been through so much shit at this point, it's like I don't even know where to begin the story. So sometimes I just gotta take a story from within my story and speak about it. So I'm gonna bring you back to one of my hospital visits. And I got to the hospital because I was so mentally sick. Like my reality was so fucked up. And I couldn't differentiate what was real and what wasn't, what was unreal. And I actually had these delusions that I had actually died, and I woke up like some butterfly effect type shit, and I was actually in another reality, literally like transferred into another world. Like I blacked out in one world and ended up in another. But no one told me that that was the truth. They just telling me that I'm crazy, that these things are not really happening, that I'm really alive, that I'm not dead, that I didn't die or nothing. And like some crazy shit's going on with me. And I was really convinced that I had died and somehow transferred into another world, and just maybe if they're not lying to me, maybe they just don't know about it. Maybe they don't know that really happened. Like maybe they so trapped in their own lies and the reality of their lives that they don't even know that what I'm speaking about is true. So it's like I don't know where the story begins or ends, And I'm in the hospital. I'm mentally broken down. Even if what I'm holding on to is some type of truth, like it's so true and dark that it got me crazy anyway. So that reality is real. Like I'm really sick, mentally disturbed, because think about it, like for a second, if that was real, that I died in one world and ended up in another world, like that would be some far out crazy shit. Like how does a human, function and adapt and cope if that's really real, like something so crazy? Like how do you handle something like that? So, I'm in the hospital, and it's like I lost my mind, but I didn't. And I'm trying to hold on to some type of reality, like ground myself. And I keep asking the people in the hospital, the staff there, people on the floor, on the psych ward there, like, am I dead? they start asking, and their response to me is, "You're not dead, you're awake." And it's like, what the fuck, really? Like, just a response like that got me thinking maybe there's some logic to my paranoia. Like, why can't, if I'm in a psych ward and you're trying to get me healthy and stabilized, right? Like, my mental illness had me psychotic and I lost my mind, and your job is to get me on the right track and stabilize me and give me something to ground me, a better reality. And I ask you, am I dead? Wouldn't a simple answer be, no, you're not dead, you're just sick right now, and you're having delusions, but you're very alive. This one lady's response to me is, "You're not dead, you're awake." In my mind, you know, I attach to these words, you know, I hang on words, you know, I give meanings to things. You tell me some shit like "you're awake," I start thinking maybe like the reality of the world I was living in, maybe I was already a zombie, like maybe the zombie apocalypse already happened to me and I was navigating through the first part of my life really like, kind of like in a coma, like a dead man. And maybe something did happen to the world or did happen to me, and now I'm waking up from what really was the delusions before, and now as y'all trying to tell me that I'm delusional and paranoid and lost my reality, maybe I really am, and you know, for the first time in my life, while most people are trying to tell me I'm in the hospital for a reason because I'm sick, maybe it's the first time, you know, you tell me I'm awake, that means maybe there's some logic to what I'm thinking about. So through my sickness, maybe I was actually getting healthy, and I'm starting to think, does that mean I'm waking up to something that I was asleep to before? Like maybe shit was going on in the world, or shit was happening to my life. Maybe I was a slave of some sort, and now I'm first catching on to like it's a trick or something. Like the first part of my life is like a trick, you know, and I thought I was living a good life, but maybe I really was sick all along, and now I'm just catching on to the struggle, you know, to the prison, to the slaveness. So it's like, you know, how do I stabilize myself and get, you know, a better reality when someone in the hospital's supposed to get me better, and they telling me I'm awake? It's like, you know, maybe that was a fair answer, but honestly, that made me even more paranoid. How am I supposed to stabilize myself when I ask them, am I dead, and they telling me I'm awake? Like, no, just tell me I'm fucking alive. Like, speak in layman's terms to a man that's sick, that like doesn't even understand basic shit anymore. Like, I'm so psychotic, I don't understand basic shit, and you're gonna talk to me and tell me I'm awake? So does that mean I was dead before, and now I'm first coming alive, and like I'm having all these weird delusions? Like that my life is some type of experiment, you know, all this crazy shit. And so, you know, shit's crazy. So I'm having these thoughts today, you know, I'm still going through my mental illness, and I'm haunted by these things that I was struggling with while I was going through my mental illness, and the trap and that maze of, as I'm trying to get healthy, there's still things going on around me, like making it hard for me to let go of my mental illness, or what they're calling mental illness. Maybe I'm the real deal. Maybe like I was really going through life and waking up all along to crazy shit going on. Like maybe some shit was occurring with me, like bigger than myself, and you know what most people would call crazy if I were to tell them about it. And so much of that truth, like, couldn't handle it, so I broke down. But maybe it was really truth all along type shit. And maybe there's people, angels or demons out there that know about that experiment. And they in the hospital with me trying to tell me like I'm waking up. So it's like, you know, I want to let go of the delusions in the hospital and get myself better and get a better reality, or some type of what you would call normalness, so I could mainstream back in society, get the fuck out of the hospital, get healthy. And it's like, from that hospital visit, that was about 3-4 years ago that lady told me that in the hospital. And you know, when weird things happen in my life, and I start having the delusions again, like, you know, what's going on with my life, and I try to block that shit out, like say, no, those are just irrational thoughts, those are delusions, that's not real. I get stuck because I go,